You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! It's gonna heave one deep down the field. It's gonna be to the goal line. It's gonna be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory got a touchdown! Oh my! Dory's got a touchdown!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Delatorre.
And we are back. Same corner, same times. Dan, welcome back to the state of Florida.
I missed you guys.
Me and Nick enjoyed Tampa a little bit this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, where'd you end up going to our dinner?
We just went to Ford's garage because it was kind of like on the way back to 275.
That's a shame. It's a shame.
Well, you know,
not a bad restaurant, but
if I had any like forethought or could plan, or if I was, half an adult, I would have had a Burns reservation and would have made a whole night of it. But
yeah, you can catch Ford at the local mall around here where I'm at, so
yeah,
I can't be catching that out of town.
See, that's not a Gainesville place. So I have a strict rule: eat at places when I'm on the road that I can't eat at in Gainesville.
I respect it.
Ford's is not in Gainesville. Burger was nice. The beers were cold.
It's not bad. Yeah, there's better places, but hey, you're able to make it. Corey, I hear you were here too. Just spend the night or just the day?
No, actually, we spent the night in Orlando. Drove up Friday, had some business to take care of. Shout out to Brandon Hicks. Him and his fiance had he threw a private party at the Kush House. So I rushed back over after the game to go check them out, hang out with them for a little bit. So I didn't stay in Tampa. I stayed in Orlando Friday and Saturday night. Good times. How was the concert? Tennessee. What was the vibes?
Man, it was nuts. It was a ton of fun. I was able to I got tickets to a Blake Shelton concert. So the company I work for is based in Nashville, and they have a box at the Bridgestone Arena. So before I left town, I was asked if I wanted to go, which was awesome. A bunch of country music legends were there. Trace Adkins, Tracy Byrd, Martina McBride, Gwen Stefani was there. I feel like I'm missing somebody. But anyway, I was short, was able to do that. Gallivanted around town on Friday. Concert Friday night, absolutely spectacular. A concert that I will remember forever. Saturday, watched the game. Got some live music, drank a couple beers, did a couple shots. Spent some extra money on some requests from local bands there. But other than that, man, it was a great trip, perfect weather. But glad to be back. Got a couple more weekends of things to do, and then I'll be off this little bender for a couple weeks.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I think this is a whole 2021 bender you got going on.
It's a lifestyle.
It's what it sounds like. Now, looking back in the way that I describe my life, it does seem like it's been on a constant bender.
But just keep denying. You get on here, and me and Silk throw out some accusations, and you deny. That's staying in the paint.
That's right. So I got a trip down to Fort Myers this weekend. It's my dad's 70th birthday. He's a big listener to the show, so super excited to see that. And the weekend after that, I get to play a member of Nick's Full House up in Gainesville for the Tennessee game. So I'll be up there that weekend. So I'm excited to be back in Gainesville for the Tennessee game.
Sounds good. I got to meet up with some Gator Twitter and people that we know. So I got to link up with Eddie.
Okay.
Stop by Annie's tailgate. Got to see Jen, the guy Heisman. Met up with a lot of those guys out there. Good time, man. That was my first time actually in Tampa in that stadium as well. Nice stadium. Not bad at all.
Not bad. So before we get into the show and the Brunt ad read here, I want to talk a little bit about the Gator Collective. We forgot to talk about it last week. So we teased it the week before. And so forgot to talk about it last week. So the Gator Collective is an organization that the three of us are kind of quasi a part of, not Stadium and Gale related connection, but The Gator Collective, in case you haven't heard about it, is an organization put together by Darren Heitner, Eddie Rojas, Jen Grosso, and a few others that are doing a subscription-based model where there's going to be access to players, raffles, autographs, to raise money for NIL. And so the three of us are a part of it, helping do some content as well. But still, I didn't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the things that you've been doing. I had the opportunity to host with Jeff Cardozo last night, an interview with Kamori Gamble and Zach Carter. But Soak, I know you've been doing a lot, so I want to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, a lot of similar to same stuff you're doing. We're doing a lot of player content. We got quite a few players from the team right now that's that we're working with. So just quick sit down, short format interviews that we want to continually do on a weekly basis throughout the season. We're going to mix it up so it won't be always sitting down on the couch or anything like that. We're going to be doing some activities, going places, just a lot of different style content behind that paywall on the GatorCollective.com. Just something real dope for the team. Is this something for us? I got some other things I may do with NIL in the future, but right now something that's just Gator based for us, by us a little bit. So it's just fun to be, a part of this whole thing. And like you said, it's not a Stadium Miguel thing. It's more of a we had Jeff Cardozo. I thought that was dope what you guys did last night. That turned out really well. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We got some good content. Support your Gator players. We had Kamori Gamble and Zachary Carter to come kick it with us. And also I do Trade Dean preview show on a Friday, which is called Big Coverage and brought to you by the great folks at Brand Insurance. There's a whole lot of Gator stuff going on, man. While we at it, shout out to the great folks at Brand Insurance and Financial Services. Anything you need insured from the Panhandle to the Keys, my man Greg is the best of the best. I don't know why my landlord just asked me for a fresh copy of something insurance-wise. I just forwarded it over to Greg, and he took care of it. I don't know what she was asking for, but Greg's that type of guy. You can hit him up anytime. He's going to take care of you real close to his customers. You can visit brandinsurance.com or 954-589-2204. Home, auto, business insurance, renter's insurance, motorcycle insurance, anything you need insured, my man Greg got it.
I love it, man. So again, check out the GatorCollective.com. I think we're up to, or they're up to about 550 plus members. There's varying levels of membership in terms of money. All of that money is going to be going back to supporting the organization. It's going back to supporting the players. So really great organization to be a part of. So check it out, the GatorCollective.com. All right, boys, coming off of another Florida Gators win, 42-20 over University of South Florida. It was a game that was billed as a sold-out stadium. Did not look sold out, but definitely billed as a sold-out stadium. The Gators get off to a slow start and then rattle off, I believe, 35 straight points before getting outscored 17-7 in the second half. Emory Jones was 22 for 151 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Anthony Richardson scores the highest rating on Pro Football Focus last week, going 3 for 3 passing for 152 yards with 2 touchdowns passing and then an additional 115 yards rushing on 4 carries. He is the number 2 rusher in the SEC with only 11 carries and just absolutely just dominating every time he gets on the field. But Gators end up, like I said, with a 42-20 win. So obviously elephant in the room. We'll talk a little bit more about it. But outside of the Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson discussion, how did you guys think that game went, and what are your thoughts and takeaways from that game?
Shoot, in our score prediction on Rivals, I predicted a shutout. I mean, that might be the worst team Florida plays all year, and Sanford's still on the schedule. So I expect, I guess, a little bit more from the defense. USF kind of had some drives where they were able to move the ball pretty well.
We did give them 13 though. We kind of just
Yeah, they had a bunch of drives that started in plus territory. Turnovers again. So right. I mean, at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. But I don't feel that, that was the next step. Like if you're trying to get better each week, I don't know if Florida got better from FAU to USF.
What do you feel about the third quarter? I think all of us gonna have like similar like opinions about how this played out, but I thought the first half we were productive, move the ball up and down the field. Third quarter, it got weird. And it seemed like they were kind of sharing like a series. One would go a series, and the next would go a series. In the third quarter, Emory kind of got the whole third, and we didn't score a single point. So how did you feel about the third quarter, Nick?
I think things started getting spooky in the third. I mean, Florida got outscored in the second half. And obviously when you get into the fourth quarter, you're playing guys, who probably won't even be suited up this week because you got roster limitations once you get into conference play. I don't know. A lot of times we say, we just got to defer to Dan. He's probably forgotten more about football and about quarterbacks than, I'll ever know. But to me, and I think I even said it Saturday, like we'll get more into it about, which quarterback is playing, but the offense looks different when Anthony Richardson's running it than Emory. And Emory had some nice passes. Dropped the ball on a dime. I think that was to Xavier Henderson. Beautiful pass.
Was it him or Justin
Coker,
Shorter?
maybe?
Justin Shorter dropped. He threw a dime to Shorter as well, but Shorter
the one that went out of bounds. You're right.
Yeah, Emory had a nice pass. I think it was the Hendo. I can't remember now.
It was Henderson in the touchdown. He dropped it through the sunroof. Beautiful pass in the end zone.
I mean, that's it doesn't get much better than that. And then you can talk about Anthony's ball where he threw it to Copeland, rolled left, had a guy's helmet in his chest as he releases it. Right. And I mean, I think he throws it 40 yards in the air off his back foot, running to his left, and puts that, into a tissue box. I just think it looks different with Anthony, and we can get into what Dan Mullen's saying about, why Emory's playing over Anthony and missed plays and how much of the playbook But like, listen, if I'm missing a protection and I make the guy miss and run for a 15-yard gain, I'll take that, that miss over staring receivers down and then hitting the safety in the chest with a pass. I
agree. Third quarter, that's the takeaway I got from it. We was marching the ball down the field back and forth. I didn't get why I didn't know what the game plan was, so I don't want to question Dan. Like you say, he know more, forgot more football than we'll probably ever know, and that's cool. Because I agree with that. But you've seen the rhythm to the offense, and he's admitted that he hasn't installed a 2-quarterback offense. I don't know what we saw the first half, but first half both guys were moving the ball down the field. It wasn't even moving the ball down the field for AR. He was just scoring like as soon as he touched the rock. So it was getting like really good first half. I was excited. Second half, we come out, didn't score at first, and we had some drops and things of that nature, but I was expecting to see more AR. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I expected the first half to kind of go like the second, but we didn't get to see that third quarter, and you see some momentum kind of die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Gators, Silk, you're right. The Gators go interception, downs, as their first 4 drives of the second half. So that's not what you want to see, regardless of who's playing and who you're playing. There should be no reason that the Gators are turning over the ball 4 straight times to start the second half. Silk, I think that you've mentioned it last week. I know that the Twitter timeline has mentioned it as well. The offense seems to hum. Players seem to just jive a little bit better when Anthony Richardson's on the field. I think the ball is put in a better spot from what I've seen out of Anthony Richardson. I think teams are more afraid of Anthony Richardson than they are of Emory Jones. And because of that, teams have to play a different defense when they're playing against Anthony Richardson than Emory Jones. And that's why I think you're seeing Anthony Richardson get off not only these long runs, but also these really good passes. That pass to Jacob Copeland, I'm not sure if Emory Jones can make that pass. I think that he can make that.
I think he can make that pass, but I don't think he gets that matchup. Yeah, that's a one-on-one matchup because they got to load the box because AR is the most explosive player on the field. So you get different looks because they're gonna have to account for his legs for sure. And I don't think they believe he can pass the ball deep. But I think Emory deep ball is good.
Yeah, no, I don't think that, and I revise what I'm saying there is I don't think that he can't potentially make that pass. I don't know if Anthony or if Emory Jones, I don't mean physically throw the ball. I think that he can physically throw the ball. I don't know if he can make that read and throw him open the way that Anthony Richard threw Jacob Copeland open on that pass. And that's one of the things that I've noticed. And we have a very small sample size, right? And that's what I want to remember about Anthony Richardson is despite what we've seen, he's only thrown the ball 11 times, right? He's only rushed 15 times or whatever it is. So we don't have a huge sample size, but what I've seen is him throwing the ball better and throwing open his receivers. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same.
I don't know that I've seen it. I don't know that I've seen him do it enough to like really stamp that and be like, yeah, cosign. But I've got like big Felipe Franks vibes when it comes to Emory in terms of, and it's things I said all off season. Hey, I need to see him create or to hit those passes, those intermediate 7 to 12-yard passes over the middle of the field. When you need to take something off the ball, float it over a linebacker in front of the safety. I don't see that. And to me, everything, unless it's a deep ball, like we mentioned the great deep ball they threw, unless it's one of those, every pass looks the same. Every pass kind of fired out. Right. He stares receivers down. That's been an issue. And it's like, I don't need Emory Jones to be Kyle Trask and go through 5 progressions before, going back and finding someone who's now open. If the first 2 aren't there and you can run, take off, bro. Like Dan Mullen said, go,
what
bro.
What you think
run.
about Emory in the run game?
I think he's still good. I don't know what the calls are, so I don't want to speak on it too much. When you've got a play that to us watching the game looks like a read option, maybe it's not. Sometimes I feel like at the mesh point, he's like holding on to it, almost too long to the point where you're worrying that you might fumble because the running back's, taking 3 steps away. So I don't know if it's an actual read option, if it's just a called quarterback run, if it's an actual running play. But I think they need to get more read option stuff, more quarterback runs involved with him. I think Florida came out and was trying to press the issue of passing more against USF after being so run oriented and run heavy in the opener.
Yeah, I just don't think the run game even looks better with AR. And I think that he's a better athlete, but he also runs with more purpose, in my opinion. It looks like he's, like to me, Emory looked like he's a little nimble with his running. He runs a little bit more dainty than I would say AR does. I don't think he's a bad runner, but you could just see the difference in running styles with both guys. Even when open field, like AR is stiff arming guys and still going. Like, it's not like he's going untouched and just out running people. He's running through people, jumping over people.
It's just disrespectful running is what it is.
And it's very different.
Yeah. They're different. They're different runners. I mean,
yeah.
Right.
Anthony's, the guy that you made in NCAA football 14. And people are like, what do you mean you have a 6'4", 240-pound quarterback who runs a 4.2? And you're like, yeah, that's just how I wanted to play the video game. And Emory's kind of just like a more elusive, more slippery.
Yeah, he's definitely slippery.
Anthony can do that, but he can also, put his hand in your chest to make you think maybe baseball is my sport and football is not for me anymore.
Definitely get those vibes. But yeah, I mean, that was just more the same. So Anthony Richardson comes back in the fourth quarter. Immediately we see spark. We see the team moving the ball, and like the whole third quarter that we didn't see any of that. So the reoccurring theme is that Anthony Richardson can move the ball down the field. He's more productive, not getting no turnovers. Regardless of how many snaps we've seen, all we could go by is what we saw. We're not at practice. Yep. As fans, media, whatever you want to call us, all we see is every time this boy touches the ball, we getting 6. And in football, that's good things. I don't care who we playing. I mean, both quarterbacks are playing the same team. So it's not like they got one's playing second team, one playing third team. They're playing the same team. One's making these teams look like USF, and then one's not. So I think it's kind of easy for like the fans to make a decision. It ain't as easy for Dan. There's a lot going on. He got to deal with a lot more than we have to deal with. But I think from a fan's perspective, we got a lot of questions because Emory's been here a few years, man, and we're not seeing it as far as development wise, and we're not giving up on him. But for what we saw, and we've got the big elephant in the room coming in this week, people got takes.
Well, and we've talked about it too, right? I mean, these are the guys that Emory Jones should feel most comfortable with, right? These are the guys, for the 4 years that he's been there, have been on the third team with him and on the second team with him, where they should have timing down. They should have a lot of this communication and everything else down, and I just don't see it, right? I mean, I saw him throw into 4 people in the corner of an end zone. right?
Right.
There's decision making, there's choices that are being made that I'm struggling with. And again, we're not the head coach, and I know Dan Mullen is very vocal about all of the things that Anthony Richardson is doing wrong. And if you want to know all of the things that Anthony Richardson's doing wrong that you don't see, listen to a Dan Mullen press conference, and he will tell you about all of the missed reads. In fact, what looks to be like his greatest run that we've ever seen a quarterback maybe make at the University of Florida, he had 3 missed parts of that play, right? So if you want to hear about all the things that he's doing wrong, but what we see on the football field is just something very different, and the voices are getting louder, and that's
And then
the
Dorian
toughest
came
part
on
about
here
being
and
a
told
coach.
us already. That's
He did, I
another
know.
thing. So it's not like we just some goofy fans that don't know nothing. Like we had somebody come on here, a former player that's a media guy, that's very educated to the game, been to practices, and he said that he didn't think that Emory would be the starter. And lo and behold, the game started getting played, and we're all wide eyed, like, okay, Chris is probably right. So it's not just a fan thing either. That throw he did, rolling out and throwing against his body to Copeland on the sideline. Yo, I was like, I gotta go home. Like, I've seen enough. Like, there's nothing else for me to see, bro.
They started playing the Oscar music. You're like, yeah, man, that's a wrap.
Let's wrap
That's
it
a
up.
wrap.
Let's go get some dinner.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
like Patrick Mahomes vibes. Like that's elite arm talent.
It's crazy.
And not only to do it running to your left for a right-handed quarterback, much easier to throw the ball running to your right, kind of have your momentum in it and get your back foot into it. Throwing to the left, totally different story. And just flicks the ball with a defender, barreling into him. So to me, I saw that, and that's just elite arm talent. You can't really teach that kind of stuff, and he's got it. I mean, we're all kind of like. The problem now is that we're talking him up, and the problem is we're kind of avoiding the elephant in the room right now, in terms of an 80-yard touchdown. You're looking at it and probably going wild, thinking this is great, and then as he crosses the goal line, reaches down, grabs a hammy,
Right.
and now you feel nauseous. So we're sitting here talking about it, and you might not be even in a position to make him the starter or play him 50 snaps, because who knows what's going to happen in practice this week with his treatment with the hamstring. I'm told it's just a grade 1 strain, which is probably best case scenario.
Right.
But he's a guy who's had hamstring issues dating back to high school. He's had a couple of them at Florida as well.
I mean, he had them in the spring.
And a hamstring's an issue that can just keep creeping back up. So listen, he's not built the same way we are, boys. Not to down talk you, Silk. I know you've been losing weight in great shape, but Anthony Richardson is not made of the same stuff we are. Dan, you're fine too.
My hamstring is trash.
Dan, we're made of bourbon.
That's just why I feel offended. Do I need to get Reed back on the show?
Anthony's not made of the same stuff we are. He will heal much quicker than we do. But hamstrings are tricky, and it's something that can just keep popping back up.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to talk anything about more about Anthony Richardson. I mean, I think a lot of it is, out there. I think Emory Jones is going to start, no matter what Anthony Richardson's health is. You're going to continue to see Emory Jones until there's literally no way that he can start Emory Jones, in my opinion. But I do want to give a couple of shout outs. Damian Pierce on his touchdown. I want to give him a shout out. Really good balance, nearly tackled, puts his hand down, able to get into the end zone, score the first touchdown of the game. So great play by him. DeJuan Black had a couple plays on special teams, really looked like a menace out there. First playing was involved on the first special teams play and on the second one. So congratulations to him. Do you want to talk a little bit about the star position? That's something that we, going into the season, talked about the kind of plethora of options that existed back there. Wasn't sure how that position would play out. Obviously, you lose a potential guy in Kamar Wilcoxon, who's out for the year. But one of the things that I'm seeing is that position is struggling a lot. We've seen a lot of different players play that position, and a lot of players get beat this season in that position. What do you guys do at star?
I'm loving Perkins. I think
Yeah.
he showed out a little bit against FAU. I
almost
think
want
he
to
had
try him on the outside though.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
thinking.
like a steal line from you. It's spooky season at CB2.
It is.
It's crazy over there.
Yeah, it's not great. But I think he was all over the field. Was it him that had the interception called back for a penalty, or was it somebody else?
No, it's Perkins.
I mean, that's a tough position, and Florida really hadn't had anyone been able to do it since Chauncey Gardner. So I think, man, from a kid that you were almost thinking, of all the transfers that Florida got, he kind of just like fell by the wayside. Really wasn't being talked about too much. I think
I had him like top 2 on my star snaps on the buy or sell.
Yeah.
I would like to see what Elijah Blades look like when he gets back, because he's dealing with some hammy issues, I think, as well. So I would like to see maybe Elijah Blades. It's been hard to find a star, so I wouldn't mind Perkins staying there. But that outside corner spot is gonna get picked on this week. Like USF and FAU picked on it. So who's ever on that side, bro, better come to play some football Saturday, because they're gonna get a lot of action. What would you do right there? If Elijah Blades can't go, will you starting the young boy, or are you going with Ham?
I mean, as high as on Jason Marshall as I've been, like he's looked like a freshman. And not burying him by any means, but he's looked like a freshman. 24 has not looked it. Like you ain't that guy. You haven't been that guy. I mean, maybe Marshall. If people are getting cooked, you might have to slide Perkins over there. But like you just said, so I'm looking at it and thinking, like, Bryce Young has looked good, and he will pick apart whoever is not, Kyrie Elam.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm unsure what to do. I mean, you guys just said it. Marshall has made some plays. He's made a lot of mistakes, a couple big penalties, couple 15-yarders this season. Helm, he's got good closing speed, but that's about it. He's been getting beat over the top, underneath, to each side of him. I'm just not really sure what you do, because Perkins is the only one that is playing, seemingly pretty well at that star position. And what does Alabama do? They're gonna go against who's ever not Kyrie Elam, who looked great against USF. So wherever you put Perkins, whether it's at CB2 or at star, they're going to go after whoever is not Jadarius Perkins first, and then they'll go after Perkins second. So I'm not really sure what you do. Alabama's number 2, number 3, number 4 wide receivers this year haven't been, and not saying that they ever should be your Devontae Smiths or your Jason Waddles, or your Jalen Waddles. But I'm very concerned about what the Gators have at CB2. You have potential, but I think the Gators need Elijah Blades, and they need to be able to get him out there, because right now this team is struggling at cornerback.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were asking me. I had to take the binoculars out of the game and like find him, because I don't recall seeing him warm up. And people are like, "Where's Blades? Why isn't he playing?" And then found him, in street clothes. But if he can go, like, listen. Like Silk said, if you're getting cooked against FAU and USF, you're going to be food for Bama. So you got to find someone there that can,
and them
just get in the way of a
transfers
pass.
are looking valuable, bro.
Sure.
Elijah Blades. Everybody was saying, why are we taking these guys? Surprise! Surprise!
I need Elijah Blades to suit up against Alabama.
Sure.
I know that he's got a hamstring issue and sat out this week. And, we're talking a little bit on Twitter about it's not that game, maybe to try to get fully healthy for Alabama. It's probably not worth re-aggravating that injury against a game that that you're going to win. But the Gators don't seem to have a lot of options at CB2 right now. I think that Nick Marshall I think Jason Marshall will improve and get better over time, but he did not look good in game 1 or game 2.
Yeah, cornerbacks need to have a short memory. I don't think he's having an issue with that. I just think he needs to wrap his head around, do something. And also, we're judging this cornerback play, but we also got a cornerback coach that's auditioning as well to the fans. He's new to us as well. So we're also judging him a little bit with how these guys develop over the season. Right now, that position got to get better, straight up. It's
Yeah.
not looking good.
Right now it's tough. Want to give a shout out to Rashard Torrance. I thought that he played well. Trey
Yeah, he
Dean
did.
played well. Let's see. And then we saw a little bit more of Michael Tarquin, a little bit more Josh Braun in this game. But do want to give Gene DeLance a shout out. Pro Football Focus graded him as the best run blocker in this game. So I think that a lot, and you can only judge based on what we've seen thus far. But this Gator offensive line does look a bit better than I think that we all expected, right? We don't know. They haven't played Alabama. They haven't played the SEC, but against FAU and against USF, they've done what they've needed to do and maybe more.
Yeah, they look like a solid group so far. I think them having that mentality of they running the ball changes a little bit too. It seems like we dropped back so much last year because of Kyle Strong's suit. Like they just had that mentality. It's such a mentality thing when you're running the ball. Well, yeah, they have looked better. Shout out to Lance, man. He caught a lot of heat over the last 2 years, man. So you gotta give these guys their flowers when they playing well. He is playing better. So shout out to Gene DeLance. And overall, too, like we had an historic day offensively, right? We put up some crazy production. The offense did like 600 and something yards, almost 700 yards of offense. I think it's like 5th most all time. We just got some turnovers in some spots on the team where we got to fix going into SEC play.
Yeah, absolutely. But overall, Gators get 667 yards. Nick, was it the 5th most they've had in a game? Is that what I read?
Maybe that would require me to do homework.
No, that's fine. I think that I've read that the Gators still lead the country
5th most since 2008.
Okay, so the Gators still are leading the country in rushing. Obviously, you're seeing a lot. They had Anthony Richardson for 115 yards, Emory Jones for 81 yards. Damian Pierce averages almost 11 yards a carry. Naquan Wright gets 7 carries for 36 yards. Bowman gets 3 rushes for 33 yards. Still a guy I think needs to get the ball a little bit more. Malik Davis kind of reverts a little bit back to where he was before the season, but again, a one-size sample, 7 carries for 22 yards, and then Lorenzo Lingard gets 5 carries for 21 yards. And again, shout out to Jacob Copeland, 2 touchdowns, Xavier Henderson with a touchdown, and ultimately getting a lot of players involved. So all in all, Gators go 2-0 heading in to Alabama, which is exactly what you want. The Gators will play at 3:30 against Alabama. And if you're going to talk about Alabama, you can't do it without bringing on one of the legends of Alabama football with the Tuscaloosa News, is Cecil Hurt. Cecil, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's a pleasure to talk to an Alabama legend.
Thanks. For a long time in one spot. Maybe so.
Well, perfect. Well, Cecil, let's talk a little bit about the Florida-Alabama game, a little bit about Alabama as a whole. Alabama obviously replacing a ton of talent on their team that went and left early for the NFL draft or graduated. Who are some of the playmakers on this new Alabama team, and who should we be looking out for on the offense and defensive side of the ball?
I was kind of surprised Young, everything going through him this year, and he can make plays. He's a different kind of quarterback than Mac. Mac had an unbelievable year last year, Mac Jones, but wasn't a guy that was going to pull it down, run it for big yardage, escape in the pocket necessarily. He had a little bit of that, but not like Bryce does. So beyond the quarterback, which is obviously the first thing you look at, they've got good receivers, John Mechie, the freshman JoJo Earl that they really like. Contrary to popular belief, Heisman Trophy winner leaves, they do not have another Heisman Trophy winner who's in the return. This is the end. But those are good receivers. Mechie is a really good receiver. Earl, Slade Bolden's had some experience. And they're really doing running back by Eddie, using Trey Sanders, who's coming back from really a terrible car accident, a broken hip. Looks close to 100%. The freshman Kamar Wheaton, I think, would give him a kind of a home run threat there. He's injured. He's been banged up. So those are some of the guys to watch offensively. Defensively, they lost Chris Allen, who was in the first game, fell a foot, who was first team preseason All-SEC. Will Anderson, who's first team preseason All-American, sounds like he'll probably make it to Gainesville, be able to play a little bit. Probably won't practice this week, got locked on a knee against Mercer and missed most of the second half, which had people concerned, but he didn't practice today or isn't practicing today. But I think he'll be available to play against Florida edge rusher, who's been outstanding. They've got Henry Totoa, the transfer. They've got lots of young guys in the secondary that are really athletic. So more of a defensive-oriented team than last year's team, which could just outscore.
Well, obviously, Alabama has no shortage of talent. They recruit better than anybody in the country. They have the best coach in college football history. But that doesn't mean that they're not technically maybe there is maybe one minor deficiency that they have. So what are some of the weaknesses that Alabama may have?
They're still putting together an offensive line. They've got 3 guys in the NFL or, landed on injured reserve, Landon Dickerson. But it was a second-round draft choice. Leatherwood is up there. So they don't have quite the depth that they had last year on the offensive line. I think it will come, but it's not done. It hadn't done that yet. So I don't know if you would call it a weakness, but you would expect them to go out and shove Mercer around.
Cecil, you've covered Nick Saban for a while. Is he in rare form? This, I mean, the last 2 weeks, really, it was the rat poison was before Mercer. I saw him slamming the podium after Mercer. Is he just creating exactly what he needs to in his team before they head to Gainesville for their first true away game?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. They played FCS teams along the way. Last year was different. Every game was an SEC game. We had lots of seniors on that team. We didn't have to do very much of the old-time gospel motivation that he used last week. But Florida, Alabama and Florida, because of the quirks of the SEC schedule, I would not call them rivals. But they played so frequently in the SEC championship game, including last year. Alabama has so many guys from Florida that everybody knows this is a big game. It doesn't have to be. I don't. You never know. He can always come in and pound the podium about something, but I don't think.
Pound the podium until Miss Terry tells him to stop it, and then he'll behave for a week or two.
To be honest, be perfectly honest. Yes, if she told him to stop it, he would stop it. Then it would get worse. Put that cork in the bottle and shake it up, and so it helps you in the short run than it helps you in the long.
Is this more Alabama and probably I can't remember exactly who the offense coordinator was, but Nick did a really good job with seeing that college football was changing and you had to have this spread or at least dynamic offense. Is this more of an older school kind of Nick Saban team? You mentioned that the defense, and I think the defense has the potential to be better this year than they were last year, while you have some younger guys on offense trying to get their feet wet.
Well, the offensive coordinators that they've had recently since he really made that transition when he decided that was the transition he was going to make, he went and hired Lane, who was great. Brian Daboll, who's been a big success in the NFL with Buffalo. And then Steve Sarkisian, who did not look great last Sunday night, but that doesn't change his credentials as an offensive coordinator. Is Bill O'Brien more old school than that? Who's the head coach in the state? And, got mixed reviews with the Texans, although he was the head coach, he wasn't coordinator. I mean, I think Bill knows offense. I don't know if he has the weapons that they've had at their disposal last year. But Nick's adaptable. When he had Derrick Henry, he could get Derrick the ball for him. You don't get Derrick Henry every year. When he had Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, he spread it around and throw it around. So, but yeah, about 2014, they made a decision when they hired Lane that college football was changing, and instead of waiting for it to change or being stubborn about it, they would change themselves. That's what makes the great coaches great. That they don't wait around until somebody comes up with an innovation and then try to catch up. They try to stay ahead of the curve if they possibly can. Whether that was Coach Bryant 50 years ago or whether it's Nick.
And Kevin O'Sullivan, the baseball coach, always tells me, he goes, good players make a decent coach look great. I'm sure that's also helped with the way they've recruited and the guys they've gotten in. Just listening to you kind of rattle off those names of guys who are now playing in the NFL, the amount of talent that they've had at Alabama is just astonishing.
Well, Nick was a very good recruiter at LSU and came back in from the Dolphins. It was a combination. He's a very good recruiter, very good evaluation staff. But his first full year was just an unbelievably loaded year in the vicinity. Julio Jones was in Fold. Marcel Darius was in Birmingham. Mark Ingram was from Michigan, but he had a family connection with the Eagles. So between really evaluating Barrett Jones, his family, Alabama legacy, dad played basketball here, so forth. So some fortuitous circumstances, but Nick went and got those guys. And once it's going, once that got rolling, then there's always been the support, even through the probation, even when Alabama was not winning the conference for a decade or so, which sounds impossible now, but it happens. Everything goes in cycles. But there's always been support. The facilities have always been good. The financial backing, the political backing has always been good. So everything's set up for them to recruit. Once they're in the SEC championship in 2008, once they're national champions in 2009, then the snowball starts rolling. Now, and probably for the last 5 or 6 years, they can go where they want to. Bryce from California. They have Tom Mechich from Canada, although he played in New Jersey. They can go to any of those places and get unless it's a kid who grew up an Ohio State fan, or grew up a Texas fan, although they went and got Brockmeyers, who grew up Texas fans last year. Everybody answers the phone call. Everybody wants to take the visit. And, Florida's similar. It's so blessed with the number of players that are in the state, which the state of Alabama is not. At the level Alabama's playing right now, they'll sign 5, 6, 7 guys in state, but then they can go to South Florida, they can go to Atlanta, they can go to Louisiana, they can go to Texas, they can go to California, and get guys. So as long as that keeps up, and I'm going to assume it's going to keep up, as long as Nick's the head coach, then they'll have a chance every year. They don't win every year.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to remind Gator fans of how many Florida guys Nick Saban has on that roster. I think all the fans listening to this podcast can probably rattle them off.
Yeah, and pretty deep in that. Some of them went to IMG from various home locations, but a lot of them played at the major schools in Florida. Florida couldn't keep. There's more than 25 down there. They couldn't keep everybody. And, Alabama's taking guys that might have gone to Florida, might have gone to Miami, might have gone to Florida State. But they're strong in South Florida, strong in Orlando, strong in Panhandle.
Hey, Cecil, I think our shot at beating Alabama this weekend is if we could, maybe the crowd could get active and get into Bryce Young's head. Is he the type of guy to get maybe thrown off mentally?
Bryce, yeah, it's a good point in that Bryce is very poised and very mature. I don't know if you've gotten to see any of his interviews or how much of his first two games you've gotten to see. He's not easily rattled. He's been a high school phenom for 4 years. A very good league in California, but now has he ever run out there? And there was the Georgia Dome was essentially full from Miami. It was mainly Alabama fans. So has he ever had 90,000 hostile fans on him? No, he hasn't. So it'll be something he'll have to adjust to and learn to deal with. And you don't know until you see somebody do it how they're going to respond to it. The last time, because of the unusual nature of the 2020 season, this will be the first time since the Auburn game in 2019 that they've been in front of an SEC crowd, a hostile SEC crowd. And they lost that game for a combination of factors, but the crowd was a factor. And now they're and for the most part, had last year's team encountered the same thing, they would have been through. But maybe, players who hadn't had to face it that much or face it at all, they don't understand. Alabama right now, because of what Nick accomplished, is the biggest game on everybody's schedule. It's a program-making game if you can win that game. Florida certainly has a chance. They certainly have a chance of tearing down the goalposts if they do it.
Well, no, we don't tear down goalposts and stuff like that, Cecil.
Good.
Big boy football over here.
There you go. Fair enough. Ole Miss sure does. I'll promise you that. Auburn, if they don't all get trapped at the edges, Auburn. But it's the target game on Florida's schedule, along with Georgia. It's the target game on Texas A&M's schedule, on Auburn's schedule, on LSU's schedule, on Ole Miss's schedule. If you can pull that off, then it changes it can change your program.
Cecil, what does Florida need to do to potentially beat Alabama on Saturday?
Pull down defensively, try and tackle Rice. I'm not big on advocating. Oh, we got to hit him. I don't believe in that kind of football, but there's good clean pressure and good clean hits that you could execute, and that would help. That'd be all new for Bryce. Need to, in a certain way, and this is not correct, so please don't take it. Every game, somebody asks, what is this team do? always want to say don't turn the ball. You can't afford to turn the ball. You can't give Alabama pick six, blocked punt last week for a touchdown. Their 2016 team had so many non-offensive touchdowns, like 17 non-offensive touchdowns. And they got the athletes to do it. So you want to avoid that while still making plays. And a very good example was the SEC championship game. And Florida made plays. They got to make it plays. And they did hurt themselves a couple of times. But if Florida can do that, and particularly in a home environment, then they can.
Well, perfect. Well, Cecil, we definitely appreciate you coming on and joining us this evening. Remind everybody where they can follow you on Twitter and keep up with the game.
That's that Cecil. Yeah, Florida can run Kyle Pitts out there.
I think Dan's inquiring I think Dan's inquiring about eligibility. He's only played one game in the NFL. Maybe he can come back.
But he didn't even really play, so they got to give another shot to it.
There you go.
Yeah, right? He didn't play. He's got to have one.
That's right.
Just at Cecil Hurt, and that's woodsandnews.com. And appreciate the support. Appreciate. I occasionally turn up in the games and play for and always look forward to being there.
Absolutely. Well, Cecil, we definitely appreciate it. We hope that you're feeling better. And thank you so much for your time this evening. And we'll look forward to a good game on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cecil. Have a great night. I mean, he's been around for a while, and he's just rattling off these players, and it's almost like remember that there's a clip of Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson were being like they were teeing off together, and the starter is like listing all of Tiger Woods like tournament wins and major wins. And at that point, Phil hadn't won a major yet, and he's like, all right, I got it. And as Cecil's like running through the players that Alabama has had, I'm just like, yeah, man, we get it. Really good at recruiting. Yeah, no, 70 in the NFL. Got it. Thanks. Yeah, let's get the Cliff Notes version of how many good players have played in Alabama.
Yeah. No, and we appreciate you guys for listening through to that interview. Obviously, some audio issues as well. So we apologize there. Cecil also, Nick, do you know much? I know that he was in an accident about 8 months ago. But I know that it's a miracle that he's able to join us, and we definitely appreciate his encyclopedic knowledge about Florida and Alabama.
Yeah, he's doing well. Had the car accident a while back, but we saw him at SC Media Days in July. When was that? When it was in July?
That sounds right.
First time traveling in a while. So. He's a legend in Alabama. He's the columnist there in Tuscaloosa, and they love Cecil. He is a great follow on Twitter too. He's not just all about Alabama. He's got some probably PG rated silk sass on the timeline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a good follow.
Yeah,
I'd like to see PG silk. I don't know how that works out.
Well, you're PG-13 now.
Yeah, I changed my life a little bit.
Yeah, still used to be an NC-17 guy.
Yeah. Had to change some things.
Silk would have gotten blocked like on a high school's Wi-Fi back in the day.
I had more questions for Cecil, but I didn't know if we get to all of them.
Tough with the audio. I mean, for most people, it's an audio only platform.
Do we know how healthy Alabama is? Because they got some questionable guys out there as well. I think both Nick and Dan will be playing the games. As far as like health wise, or do we believe Nick when he says like health wise where they're at?
Yeah, I probably tend to believe Nick more than Dan right now in terms of who's healthy. I think the big one would be Will Anderson, who left the Mercer game, and Cecil hit on that. Saban said they're very encouraged. May not practice on Monday, but it sounded like the vibes Saban was giving off is that he would be able to play. That's someone who you would rather. We just talked talked up Gene Delance, and it's not about Gene Delance. Anderson's a guy you'd rather just not having line up over any of your offensive linemen. That's he's a guy that'll live in the backfield.
Yeah, no, I certainly hope he's healthy and is fully back and recovered by Sunday. I think Saturday would be a little bit too quick to rush him back.
Reckless.
I think 8 or 9 days off would be good for Will Anderson. I don't know other than that if they have any major injuries. I do know Silk that their big question marks are on the offensive line. They are replacing a lot of different folks. He mentioned obviously a couple players that got drafted last year, but I believe it's their right guard, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, that's been struggling quite a bit this season. And they've not blocked the way that you think Alabama should block. In their two toss-up games, or not toss-up games, two layup games, Miami and Mercer. Both teams, were able to get, past the offensive line. Now, Florida is infinitely more talented than Mercer and substantially, and if not close to infinitely more talented than Miami. So you have to hope that Florida's ability with, not only Zach Carter, Chris Bogle, Newkirk and the rest of the gang, that they're able to get to the quarterback, but be able to rattle Bryce Young early in the game too is going to be very important for the Gators.
Yeah, I think if we're going to have a shot at winning this game, it's going to have to be one right there. Our pass rush and being able to create some turnovers and some havoc in that loud stadium. That's how we're going to be able to beat Bama. That's my hope right now. What you about to say, Nick?
He said that, Bryce has been composed and poised in interviews. I just think that the Swamp has the potential to be another player, and it has the potential to rattle a guy who's, in his third year as a starter at an SEC school, let alone, a player truly making their first road start. I know their opening game wasn't at home, but it's a neutral site game. And I bet you dollars to donuts there were more Bama fans than Miami fans at that game. Maybe not online, but certainly in the stands. We watched Bo Nix, I think it was 2019. Bo Nix come in, and he was a freshman, just crumble, not be able to handle it. And I think you'll have more fans at this game than you had at that game. Dan, you mentioned the alleged sellout last week. I think it'll be an actual sellout this week in Gainesville. And what difference can the Gator fans make? And I think, if they want to take this as a challenge, like, hey, challenge you guys to show up and be loud Saturday, because I think that you need to hopefully get some procedural issues on Alabama, some snap count issues because of how loud it is. Maybe get into Bryce's head, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. How long can Florida stay in the game? Do you come out and throw a pick six early and take the crowd out of it? I think it's going to be important for Florida to come with a game plan that allows the fans to stay in the game as well.
Yeah, we got to make that place loud. I do think, Dan, let's just talk about this. Do you think we've been cuffing plays a little bit? I think we all agree that we've been cuffing plays. Dan came out, and I think he kind of put himself in a little situation. I think sometimes he talks too much, but him saying that he hasn't installed this 2-quarterback offense, and Copeland kind of agreeing with him that they've been holding plays back. I think you open yourself up to like this week of like more eyes trying to see, okay, what's new since you're incorporating your 2-quarterback system and you're unleashing new plays, right?
Everyone's like, bet. Yeah. Okay. You've been vanilla the first 2 weeks. Bet. Let's see it.
Yeah. Let's see what's up.
Yeah. And that's a thing too, right? I mean, Florida's going to have to put something unique on the offense, right? And fans are going to expect it, right? When you say things like that, and now you've got eyeballs on not only your ability to call those plays, but your ability to execute those plays. And right now, this team, at the quarterback position,
he's handcuffing some things. I haven't seen have we seen a tight end target?
We have not seen we definitely don't have a tight end catch. And if we've seen a target, it has been a very loose, maybe. Oh, Nick Elksnis had a pass that was overthrown in the end zone.
First target tight end all year.
Right. Who had that on their bingo card? Game 2, Nick Elksnis, first tight end attempt of the season.
Yeah, he's going to design something. He's going to slip somebody for a first down or out in the flats. I know he just got tight end stuff dialed up. Dan's gonna scheme some things. I know we have been playing vanilla. We're not seeing a lot of trickery going on. It's just been a lot of straightforward things. I think we'll see a lot more play action. I'm just excited to see what the game plan is. And how healthy Anthony is. I think if we got a healthy Anthony Richardson, a loud Swamp, things will get spooky. I'm ready to lie as more of the show goes on.
Yeah, I mean, this is your time, right? I mean, Alabama's replacing basically their entire coaching staff. I mean, although their defensive line coach is a former NFL player, so like our former NFL head coach, so like,
right,
what are you like replacing? But at the end of the day, you have a young quarterback. You have an offensive line that's almost brand new, and you have a lot of new players, and you have some players that are highly recruited guys and highly regarded guys, but still haven't maybe shown that potential yet.
They look like the best team in the world right now, though.
By far, they sure do.
By far. There was a couple people came on here and said they thought Georgia would probably be the more of a threat this year. That's hogwash at this point. Bama looks good top to bottom. They don't look like the usual Bama where they got this one kid that could just kill everybody on offense. Right. I think they're balanced. I think Bryce is doing a good job of spreading the ball around a little bit. So they look a little bit more beatable. But as a whole unit, I don't think nobody's looking better than them. And I don't think they got in their bag either. I don't think they had to pull out no big plays and no trickery for Miami or Mercer. It's kind of like the same thing.
I tend to think, that the whole, our team, our coach was vanilla and we didn't show anything. I tend to think that's that's cap, that you're just caping for either a bad game plan or a bad game or underachieving. But there's also some truth to it. Like, you're not going to show everything against FAU and USF, who you can probably just go through the motions and beat. You're not going to show everything, but you're not going to show everything to Alabama. You'll have wrinkles that you didn't run against Alabama for the Georgia game or for LSU or even for the following week against Tennessee. In that same breath, I think you throw everything you can at Alabama that you feel comfortable running. But I don't know if I totally subscribe to the Florida's been, blatantly vanilla to try to hide stuff and vanilla. Not. Well, maybe that's just the flavor of the season.
No, I don't think so.
You think there's some pistachio, there's some Rocky
sure.
Road.
Just, like,
that's the first flavor of ice cream you think of?
Yes, he's a weird guy.
Cookie dough. I don't even like pistachio ice cream, honestly.
Why the hell did you mention it?
I don't know. Just
I like pistachios, but the ice cream's a bit much.
Yeah.
I know people that like it. Just not my thing. I'm not really an ice cream guy either.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You rolled.
I was flabbergasted.
Sorry. Rocky Road. I went Rocky Road after. Moose Tracks. I don't know, man.
I was befuddled. Anyway, silk as you were.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Good job.
Apparently ice cream. This is an ice cream podcast.
You were talking about our vanilla play.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen a lot of sets, man. I just know like Dan's keeping this thing vanilla. I don't think he's got into the whole bag of running these quarterbacks. I think we're going to see some design QB runs and wrinkles that we just haven't seen before, man.
You talk about like two quarterbacks next to each other, like a read option kind of looking play, hand the ball off, throw it, roll out, throw the ball.
Jacoby Brissett, Jeff Driscoll situation.
Jeff Driscoll
I lied about Kurt Roper keeping it vanilla.
Hey,
I'm ready to admit some things.
Silk's over like, listen, you think I'm not going to lie about Dan Mullen keeping it vanilla?
Yeah. Right.
I was talking about Brent Pease being an offensive genius.
I thought he was
keeping it vanilla.
I thought he was keeping it vanilla. Then he started doing 75 motions the next week. I was like, okay, this is really his thing.
Wide receivers have run 1,000 yards just in back to forth in a game.
Yeah, I'm looking for, hey, both quarterbacks on the field at the same time, a little handoff, roll out, hit somebody, drag him from the other side of the field, hit a deep ball. I mean, there's a bunch of things you can do. As long as his hamstring's healthy.
I saw a really cool play that Presbyterian, which is like this like real small school that played Fort Lauderdale University, which I didn't know existed.
Is that the one that beat FSU?
Nah, close. But no, they had this one like jet sweep, and as they handed off the ball, the wide receiver or the cornerback that had coverage on that wide receiver, like obviously broke to go make a tackle on that jet sweep, and he just like almost like flag football just passed it right over that cornerback, and they were able to swing it through. But what do you guys expect to see out of this offense? Do you expect to see more tight end involvement? I mean, what more do you think outside of vanilla play calling are you expecting? Are you expecting more motions, more jet sweeps? What are you expecting?
I hope we get some like design QB runs and also just like some tempo, a little bit of pace. And several times in both of these games, FAU and USF, I was like, why don't we go and pick up a pace a little bit and keep this thing, especially when you're a running team. When you got a team on their heels and you're running the ball, I think pace is important. So I think that's the key to the game. I think that's something different that we'll see, a new wrinkle. AR just being able to do some things. With a healthy AR, I got a question for y'all. Healthy AR, what do y'all want the splits to be? If he's healthy, we're just playing what if land. What do you want the count snap split to be?
For this week or like in general?
Yeah,
this week.
This week.
60-40 AR.
I don't think that you'll see that. I think
no. You're the head coach now, Dan. That's the question. You're the head coach.
Well, so if I was the head coach,
you're not Dan Thompson, you're Dan Mullen.
Very good. Elite Dan's over here. I think if I was a head coach, then I would play Anthony Richardson 80% of the game. At the end of the day, I don't have an allegiance to Emory Jones because I'm Dan Thompson, not Dan Mullen. But at the end of the day, I think that Anthony Richardson gives you a better chance to win that game. I think one of the reasons that I'm seeing is Emory Jones was successful because of how diabolically different he was than Kyle Trask. And that's the position that I'm gravitating towards. And I don't think that Emory Jones is untalented. I don't think that Emory Jones can't potentially have some success this season, but I'm guessing that the reason that Emory Jones was as successful as he was coming in for relief for Kyle Trask is because of how different he was and teams not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah, I would want to go into that game with like a 60-40 split in mind, like Nick is saying, right? So I go in with that in mind because you never know what you're going to see from AR. He may struggle too, and you may need and Emory may know more of the playbook. Like he may have you go deeper in the playbook, so certain things you may need Emory for. Emory may get a hot hand, who knows? Mm-hmm. But my mindset going in would be 60-40, and if the hot hand AR get a hot hand like he's done these first two games, I'm with Dan with that 80. Leaning towards that. That's just us playing make believe.
And I think that can go
healthy.
I think that can go both ways. I mean, I think that if Emory has, a good game, is able to put the ball where he needs to, avoids turnovers. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is not just errant passes. It's some of the decision making. The game is
that pass like it's
going. Go ahead.
Yeah, that pass to Whitmore was crazy late.
With
my wife
that
sitting
second interception.
Yeah, he was open. It was just extremely late, and I'm just like, yo, what was he looking at? Why is it processing that late? At this point in his career, it should be clicking a little faster. Mm-hmm. And if not, if you do process it that late, yo, tuck that and run.
Yeah,
have the awareness and the wherewithal to know that, yo, I'm kind of late on this. You gotta have a clock in your head. Yo, that's late. It's probably gonna get picked up. I gotta go.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where my head's at about this whole thing. I mean, I think that Emory Jones has capabilities to be able to be a good quarterback. I think that he's elusive when he runs. He's very slippery. He's able to make a lot of players miss. He moves the ball forward. It's just we're missing that big time decision making. And you can't have, I mean, Cecil mentioned it. You can't have turnovers and win this game. Emory Jones has 4 interceptions against USF and FAU.
Yeah, I think before the SEC championship game last year, I said, you've got to play at least like +2 in turnovers. And I think Florida got there, but then Trey Dean gets, cold cocked and fumbles, one of them. But you've got to be plus in the turnover margin, probably by 2 or more. I think you're going to have to sustain some drives. You're going to have to get off the field as well. And I watched USF put together some long drives. They had like a 16-yard, 75-play drive against Florida. I think Bama's got the ability to do that. They also have the ability to score quickly. So I think, we're going to need to watch how does Florida react to Alabama? Can you get off the field on third down? Can you get after the quarterback? We've seen FAU and USF in back-to-back weeks really try to take away Florida's pass rush by just getting the ball out quick. And these are like no progression passes. It's just 3-step drop, you're throwing a quick slant, 3-step drop, or you're in the shotgun and it's just catch, turn, and pass to kind of negate that. I think Alabama might have some of that as well, but you're going to have to get into the backfield and pressure Bryce Young.
What units you guys think we have the advantage at, if any?
I would say our defensive line against their offensive line right now. The defensive line didn't cause as much havoc as I thought that they would in terms of, sacks and things of that nature. But I think that Zach Carter, Chris Bogle, Jeremiah Moon has been playing spectacularly. Obviously he's a linebacker, but, he's playing in, kind of that rushing linebacker position quite a bit. So, I think that Florida, their defensive tackles, I think match up well against their center and their guards. And so I like Florida's chances. And that's the one area where I think that we have a substantial advantage over. Their run blocking is not very good. If Florida can get in the backfield and make some impact, but I think that's Florida's probably biggest advantage.
I think that's the only position group I would say
agree.
that.
I agree. I'm going to go with that one as well. I do want to see Brenton Cox come alive. I'm just not seeing it so far this year, man. He's going to have to step up eventually here. I think Chris Bogle was my guy, wanting to get more snaps in the preseason, and I'm feeling that way even more now. I'm not saying he's playing bad, but for all the hype, I got to see more. He's going to have to definitely set that edge this week and not just be flying up the field. So speaking about D-line, I want to see Bogle start. I'm just go ahead and throw that out there. I think he's playing very good. Cox has 1 tackle. Shout out to Spence. That's just sent that stat.
Wow. It's just not good. And Florida has an embarrassment of riches at that buck position in terms of, potential.
Is he healthy? Because he has some healthy concerns too. So that's another question as well. Is Cox really healthy?
If not, then they need to put in the people that are healthy and are making the impact, right? You've got to use every advantage that you can to beat this Alabama team. And if you can force Bryce Young to make passes, or you can get into the backfield and try to tackle, Trey Sanders, who's a guy that is a name that, Florida fans will know well. Shout out to his brother Umstead and his Jacksonville State team for beating FSU.
Shout out to them boys.
And former Florida Gator great Umstead Sanders.
Doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's where Florida needs to win this game, is by, penetrating their offensive line, getting to the cornerback, making tackles in the backfield, and forcing them to make mistakes and building off of those mistakes, right? You're going to need to cause turnovers. You're going to need to limit their big plays. And then you've got to play mistake-free football on offense.
Yeah, you just can't, like in baseball, you say, somebody drops like a foul ball. You can't give teams extra outs. You can't give Alabama extra chances, whether it's, even if it's just dropping an interception, hey, good pass breakup. But when you're playing a team like Alabama, if you can get both hands on the ball, don't look for a pass breakup. Bring that down. And if you're trading and you catch an interception, just hit a knee, brother. Just hit a knee. We don't need you to get an ear hold again. He got rocked opening weekend. FAU. Someone put the crown of their helmet under his chin. You got for Florida. You've got to figure out ways, because I think you're playing a team that has more talent than you on the roster. And when you're playing, we talked about it, Florida played the last 2 weeks, played a team that they had more talent than. You've got to play mistake-free football, and you've got to find some hidden yardage, whether it's on punt return, kick return, or creating turnovers. You're going to have to do that this week.
How do you approach this game offensively, like strategy-wise? What's your game plan?
You got to play to your strengths. That's running the ball. That's probably getting multiple.
Isn't that to their strength too, though?
Well, yes. It is, but you're going to try to come out and throw the ball over the yard. I don't feel good about Emory Jones throwing the ball 25 times against Alabama, 30 times against Alabama. I think you have to find creative ways to get matchups that you like, whether that's through option, whether that's through shifting guys, motioning guys pre-snap. You've got to find ways to get favorable matchups for your guys in the running game. Because if you're going to come into this game and try to throw the ball to beat Bama, you're going to be 2-1 on Sunday.
That's how you got to beat Bama, though. I don't think we're going to run down the field. I think they're going to be explosive, and I think we're going to have to stretch the ball down the field as well. Even if it's coming off a play action, like you got that Copeland one-on-one situation, running quarterbacks create those opportunities. So if we can separate and hit some things like that would be dope. But we're going to have to pitch it around the yard a little bit.
Yeah, I don't agree necessarily, Nick. I think that Florida, yes, needs to run the ball, but that's Alabama's biggest advantage is their ability to stop the run on offense or on defense. Their pass protection, their pass rush has been, I don't want to say suspect, but has been less than what maybe you're used to. Now, again, you have to take this into consideration that they were up 27-0 at the end of the first half against Miami, and then they played Mercer, right? But I think that if Florida's going to win this game, like you said, Silk, Florida's got to find a way to pass the ball, and they've got to find a way to move the ball and get big chunk yards. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, Hail Marys or, 4 verts, but they've got to get, bubble screens. They've got to get the ball to players in open field, and they've got to chunk away at 10, 12, 15 yards because, if Anthony Richardson's healthy and he plays, I think that he'll be successful running, but I don't know if he'll average 25 yards a carry like he has, right? I don't know if Emory Jones is going to average 8 yards a carry like he's been, right? So that's where you have to win is by getting these chunk yards and then, causing some havoc on defense and, praying to the good Lord above that the sky is orange or the sky is blue and the sun's orange for a reason, right?
Yeah, if the sky is orange, we definitely have to get that.
Well, listen, I don't know about Dan, but I'm still not over Nick Saban leaving Miami.
No, I think he's a dirty, rotten liar, and he should be banned from the sport.
So when he rolls into town, I think the sky does turn red. That's just us, Silk. That's nothing about your Jacksonville Jaguars.
But I am appreciative of him developing Tua and Jalen Waddle and a number of other Alabama Crimson Tide players that play on my Miami Dolphins who are leading the AFC East.
The AFC East leading.
Who's got to be playing the game on offense for y'all? We're gonna talk some defense after this, but who's gonna have to step up? We obviously the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Who can help these quarterbacks out? Let's take some pressure off 5 and 15. Who's gonna step up and make some big plays?
Let me go like a little X factor, Malik Davis, and I think Dan mentioned didn't look as great running the ball. That's a guy you can get involved in the passing game. It's someone we even not joked about. We even talked about, hey, do you slide him into the slot? Can he do stuff like that? I think that's something they haven't really shown on tape yet. Maybe if you go back to last year, you can probably see some of it. So it's not going to surprise Alabama, but you haven't seen it in the offense yet this year. Getting the running backs more involved in the passing game. If you guys are saying, hey, you're going to need to pass the ball to beat Alabama, can you get Malik Davis involved in that? I think it would be shocking to see a ball thrown to a tight end at this point. So get Nick Ellis.
We're about to get a shovel pass, baby. That's on deck. Like, it's on the horizon. I don't know when we're going to get it, but Zip or somebody's going to get a shovel pass here soon.
And then maybe throw the kitchen sink at him. Some trickery. Like I was mentioning too. You get 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time, a double pass, something like that. Take your shot. I remember the last time Alabama was here. I don't think it was a trick play, but was it Brantley? It must have been Brantley to the Bows.
First play of the game.
First play of the game.
Blind, boy.
Woo! Soaks up. I told you. I told you.
Fucking reckless.
And it didn't last long, but you can hit Alabama for plays like that. And like I said earlier, come with a game plan that keeps the fan base engaged. Like worst thing that can happen is turnover first drive, Alabama scores. Okay, fans, that because it's going to be bumping. You'll hear them in Ocala when that ball is kicked off. But don't do something stupid and get behind 10-0 quick.
Yeah, I think my player is Jacob Copeland. I think that he's a guy that got hopefully some confidence in him, was able to get a long touchdown from Anthony Richardson, had a big game. He had 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 35-yard average, carry that over. I don't think that he can run like that against some of these Alabama DBs, but if you can get 100 yards out of him, 110, there's a huge opportunity for Jacob Copeland's coming out party. But Florida's going to need those chunk yards that we talked about, and Jacob Copeland has the speed, he has the ability. Now it's a matter of putting it all together. So I'm going to go with Jacob Copeland, and then my other person is DeMarcus Bowman. He's a guy that every time he touches the ball, it's an electric play. Averaged 11 yards a carry against USF. Had a good game against FAU, but there's just something magical when he touches the ball that this could be his coming out party too. He's just very different than the running backs the Gators have.
Yeah, I like Copeland. That was gonna be my guy, but I'm gonna go with Baby Hendo. I think he's a guy that can stretch the field. I think that the catch he had with Emory Jones was gas, man. We're gonna need a lot more there. I think Copeland may draw some double teams here and there, and I think number 3 gets some one-on-one matchup, especially if the running game gets going. So I'm gonna go with Xavier Henderson, man. Big game on offense. I like Malik Davis though. Malik
talking about a guy
run game.
Talking about trying to figure out ways that Florida beats Alabama. I mentioned special teams. Hendo's a guy that can. I've been impressed with on punt returns. And hey, listen, take one to the crib. That place will go nuts. So I think I like that pick. I think it's me and you versus Daniel. We both like each other's picks.
What else is new? What about on defense? So,
Grantham, dog. Like I think this is Grantham's
future USC
test.
head coach Todd Grantham.
I mean, only that'd be a blessing.
That'd be a blessing.
It would, man. That's the only way we're gonna lose him.
Yeah.
If he get another job.
Yeah.
But what do you think, man? Grantham is his first. This is gonna be his real first test this year. It's been a little iffy. It's hard to gauge last game. I didn't like a lot of things last game, but I like the front four. I like the activity of the pass rush. I like Perkins. I like Kyer. What a beautiful interception by the 5'6" guy, man. I almost had my 2. I think I bought 1.5, and then they called one of my interceptions back on something bogus. I felt good.
No way it was 1.5 because I think it was like 2.5. So
it was 1.5, and I chose the under, and I had training.
I sold on 1.5.
You did. You bought 2. So shout out to me for again a very accurate prediction.
But yeah, this is gonna be a real good test for Grantham in that defense. We're calling that front four one of the best in the SEC. They're gonna have to be that for us to have a shot to win this game. I'm not convinced that number 2 should be out there playing linebacker regularly. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not saying he's playing bad, but I don't see a linebacker flying around out there. So that is my concern on defense. But how do we strategically attack this team outside of the pass rush? We know we gotta get to the pass, so that's the obvious.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking at Florida, Alabama, you got to start up front. And I think Bama will obviously see that, that quick passing game against FAU and USF and think, hey, we got better athletes than that. We can do that kind of stuff to negate the pass rush. But I think that's when you got to, as a defensive lineman, like, hey, have some awareness to yourself. And if I can't get there, get my hands up, at least get a hand in the passing lane, knock a ball down, make them start thinking, hey, maybe we can't do this, go to something else. Got to get after Bryce, at least make him feel you. If you're not getting a stack, at least be around him when he's releasing the ball and let him know I'm going to be here in the backfield every time you're dropping back.
A little bit. We got to rattle him big time. Like we can't have him get comfortable.
Don't let him get comfortable. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Don't let him sit back there and think, man, I got all day to throw. This is nice. So I think that's where it starts. And I mean, we haven't even talked about, our concerns about that other cornerback spot, across from Kyer yet. But said it before, the secondary's best friends are good pass rush. So you've got to figure out a way to affect the quarterback. And I know I probably sound like Todd Grantham saying that. You don't need 9 sacks. You'll take it. You'll love it if you get them. But just affect the quarterback. Don't let him feel comfortable. And, if I'm Zach Carter, hit him on the first play and let him know, like, hey, here's my business card. I put it in your pads. I'll be here if you need me.
Yeah, being able to get home with 4 is going to be important in this game. What's up, Dan? What you got?
Yeah, no, I think you guys have hit the nail on the head. I think that getting to the quarterback is important, but I think definitely limiting their chunk plays, right? We have question marks at star. We have question marks at CB2. I think we know the players, Jadarius Perkins, but wherever he's not is where you have a question mark, right? So I think that you have to limit chunk plays. I think Alabama is good running the ball. I don't think that they're as good as they have been in the past. I don't think that Trey Sanders is your Najee Harris, right? I think that if you can force them to run the ball, I think that Florida's front seven can contain their running. But I think that you've got to rattle Bryce Young. You've got to force him to make decisions, and you have to create turnovers. That's the most important thing here. So you've got to be – I think you've got to be aggressive in getting after Bryce Young. You have to force them into passing downs. You have to be able to limit their ability to run the ball. They're a heavy run on first down team. They don't throw a lot on first down. They don't even really throw a lot on second down. Maybe they haven't had to, but Alabama's not a team that's airing it out early on in the game, so or early on in their downs. So you have to force them to make throws, and then you just have to pray to the good Lord Jesus that, somebody else is able to take up that other position and cause a turnover or be able to limit their ability to get, 30, 40, 50-yard plays. Because that's where Alabama really, hurt Florida last year in the SEC championship, was they were chunking away at 20 and 30 yards at a time. So third game of the season, Alabama's first SEC game too, new quarterback, offensive line that's maybe not as good as they've previously been, and you've just got to execute in every facet of the game to win this one. But, I think you have to really force them to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
I don't know, but that's what you have to do.
Throw it now with like 8 yards back. Then I think a lot of that's gonna matter. I don't know, like if we playing that same soft coverage. I expect us to, because I haven't seen anything different, and I just don't see that being an effect. I think we got to redirect some things and play a little bit more aggressive than Todd Grantham has shown the last 2 years. I think we've been playing a little passive, I would say. I don't want to see any corner blitzes. Those they just never really work for us. Just things I don't want to see, man. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to call calls, but what I've seen in the last couple of years that I don't see working tomorrow. We have to be able to get home with 4, rotate the defensive line, keep these guys fresh. A guy that I think needs to step up and kind of show who he is this game is Gervon Dexter. Mm-hmm. And you need to push some people around and show somebody he's one of the best defensive tackles in the country. It's time, big matchup. And it's gonna have to happen up front.
Yep.
Period.
I think that's what this game boils down to, and it's doing the right things right. I mean, it's getting good punts when you're going to punt the ball. I thought that Crenshaw punted the ball, pretty well. Nick, I'm getting some excited by
Dan.
Some Nick
Bring
excited
it on
over
home
here.
here, Dan.
Yeah, but you're going to need to do that. If you have a field goal opportunity, you're going to need to make sure that you get those, and you've got to play nearly flawless football. It's maybe not the same flawless football you needed to play last year. Florida had some flaws and they lost that game, right? You play flawlessly and you win. So, Florida, they have talent. They're not devoid of talent. But at the end of the day, it's going to all come down to execution and the team coming to play and knowing what the stakes are.
And I think you call this game differently if you're Dan. Like,
yeah,
he's almost been allergic to kicking field goals, and you've seen Florida turnover on downs a bunch of times. Listen, if Dan's inside the 15, he's gonna go for it. But I think you got to take some points if you're Florida this week. If you're on the 15-yard line, and you got a fourth and 5. Kick the field goal. Take 3 points. Stop turning the ball over. Depends on the pace
of the game. If your defense not stopping them, and you feel like you gotta get 7 to keep pace, then you kind of got to. So it just depends on how the defense playing too in that scenario.
I think, yeah, I agree with that. But I think, listen, if you got a chance to score points on Bama, unless they're just in a Corvette on the freeway against your defense, moving the ball at will, running up and down, then. Take some points.
I can see it.
Not far-fetched there, Nicholas.
Oh, man. Let me give a quick shout out before we forget to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. Visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code STADIUM to get 10% off your order. If you are looking for tumblers, bottles, jackets, sippy cups, whatever the case may be, check them out. Really great products. A bunch of NFL teams, a bunch of customizations that they can do for you and your company. But anything related to college, golf, the NFL, NFLPA, check them out. Again, that's GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code STADIUM get 10% off of your order. Do want to talk a little bit more about a few other things. What are your thoughts on Jeremiah Moon this season, boys? I think he's a guy that we all were a little bearish on going into the season. But so far, is Jeremiah Moon playing as the best linebacker on this team right now?
Jeremiah Moon is having the season Jim Nagy always dreamed he would have. I mean, Jim Nagy's in charge of getting guys into the Senior Bowl. And I think other than Moon's family, Jim Nagy has been Jeremiah's biggest fan for the last 6 years. I think, I would say he's Florida's best linebacker right now through 2 games.
Yeah, I think he's playing great football. I wasn't a big fan of that move on paper, but he's playing well from the first snap. I was like, yo, Moon's kind of active at linebacker. We'll see what it looks like this game versus Alabama. Of course, there's going to be a different level of competition, but it looks like a more natural position than he was at Buck. Yeah, surprisingly. So, shout out to him for finding him a spot.
Yeah, ends up with the only sack the Gators get in that game. Tyron Hopper led the team in tackles, five tackles, 1 assisted tackle. Mahmoud Diabate was all over the field too. Ends up with 4 tackles, 3 assisted tackles. So I think you're seeing a bit more. But another player I wanted to mention, we talked a little bit about him earlier, was Rashard Torrance. Got some hate from former ESPN writer Derek Tyson on the timeline, who seemingly lives his life to hate Todd Grantham. But I thought Rashard Torrance has played really, really well this season. I thought he played well against USF in pursuit and in some backfield tackles or close to the line of scrimmage tackles. How do you guys think Rashard Torrance and Trey Dean are doing back there at safety?
I think both are playing well. But I think we haven't had a real vertical threat, so it's hard to really gauge. But from what their assignment football, they're playing well. Coming up, tackling, they're running the alley, filling in like they're supposed to, getting calls in. They're not looking lost pre-snap. From that aspect, the defense is looking better. We just got one spot that we really got to clear because it's a gaping hole. Yeah. But I think the secondary has been solid. We just got that one spot that has been looking pretty bad.
Spooky
we can sure that spot up. I think we'll be a lot better on the back end. But I think Dean and Torrance have played very well.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's get into some other Gator news. Gators grab a commitment last week from offensive lineman Jalen Farmer, 6'5", 325 pounds, from Eastside High School in Covington, Georgia. A 3-star guy, not ranked in the 250 or ranked in the state rankings for the state of Georgia on Rivals. Had a few offers, East Carolina and Georgia Tech, but the Gators grab Jalen Farmer. Your thoughts? Any thoughts?
Another project. Another par for the course for the offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not terribly mad at the kid at all. We just got a lot of those in that room. Obviously, we're underperforming at offensive line recruiting. This ain't about stars and them maybe being better, better talent evaluators. It has nothing to do with that. Like, obviously, we're missing on our whole board, and we're reaching down for kids that we wouldn't even recruiting. So man, eventually something's got to change at the spot. Shout out to the kid. It ain't his fault he got an offer. I think he finishes blocks well. I think he's gonna play guard on the next level. Big kid. He's probably gonna get more offers.
Good size.
Georgia Tech offer in there. I think he had like a Cincinnati offer, a little smaller Power 5 offer. So he ain't a terrible offer, but obviously we missed on a big part of our board. He had one play where he drove a kid all the way to the track. I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, so Jalen Farmer joins the Gators team, Gators class. Speaking of recruiting, the Gators have a wild play or recruit list that's coming through to this Alabama game. Of those are 5 stars: Evan Stewart and Jaheim Singletary. You have a rival, Najee Kelly. Kamari Wilson maybe joining, Quincy Wiggins. Azariah Thomas, Jalen Glover, the kid out of Lake Gibson that chose to go to Utah, but Florida. So what?
No, I was just saying, yeah, the one that committed to Utah.
Yeah, a bunch of commitments obviously are coming. Nick Evers, Julian Humphrey, Isaiah Bond, Shamar James, Terrence Gibbs, Francois Knowlton, C.J. Smith, Jamarian Burt, A.J. Lightsley, and C.J. Hawkins.
Say the name everyone wants to hear, Dan.
Is it Walter Nolan?
That one.
Yeah. So is on the visitor list. Will he show up? I don't know.
We used to joke about this years back. Nobody other than Florida gets as many as I'm going to be there, and then no shows.
So
this list is loaded.
This is the premier list, right? I remember FSU a few weeks ago was boasting about their list after their the closest or their best loss in school history against Notre Dame. This list blows that one to shame. Just looking at the list of, there's potential 5 stars. There's 4 more potential Rivals 100s. There's a couple more Rivals 250. That doesn't include any of the commits the Gators have. Then there's what looks to be a list of about 2023 prospects that are Rivals 250s. And the list really goes on. Their 2024 commit, Jared Gibson,
quarterback.
2025 quarterback is going to be there. But Jared Gibson, the Gators, 5-star running back from that class is going to be there. This list is as loaded as you're going to see the Florida Gators get. This is where you have the opportunity where if you don't win, you have to show the atmosphere. You have to make sure that you are bringing an environment that these kids can see themselves playing in.
Sure.
Are there kids that are coming because it's a free trip? Probably. Getting a free ticket to go to the premier game week 3 is certainly attractive. But this is your opportunity where you have to make that impact. You can't get guys to come in unless you get them on campus. This is your chance. You have them on campus to make an impactful day. So that goes all the way from, the Gator Walk. Actually, it goes to before that. It goes about 2 hours before that because, most of these guys are going to come on about 4 hours before. So it's going to deal with the food and registration and what that experience and atmosphere is like. It's going to go to Gator Walk. It's going to go to these coaches, talking to the players before the game. It's going to be their interactions after the game. It's going to be the atmosphere of the stands. Everything is a part of this for these unofficial visitors. So, fans and those that are going to be at this game realize that you're part of this experience that you're going to give this unbelievably star-studded list. I don't know when the last time the Gators had a list like this.
And let me ask you this. So in the summer, I want to get both of y'all's take on this. In the summer, everyone we talked to was, I'm coming OV for the Florida-Bama game. Obviously, that's, the premier matchup on the Gators schedule. Florida made the decision to not do official visits this week. So these are all unofficial visits. And I want to know what your guys' take is on that. And
I think it's smart.
After.
Yeah, I think you're too busy, man. It's a big game week. The coaches don't have time to really cater to you and spend the time because they're prepping for a big game. This is a top 10 matchup or 11, however you want to size it up.
Yeah.
So I think it's smart. They come in, just enjoy the atmosphere. The girls in short skirts, let their family enjoy the vibes of the city. Loud crowds, and they already got their official visits in the summer, or they'll do it later where they get all the information and really see the campus and they can watch film and do all that type of stuff. So, and
I think you avoid getting taken advantage a little bit of, Nick. This could be a game where Florida could shell out hundreds of thousands of dollars in visits. Not saying that Florida can't afford it because they can, but it avoids that needed, necessary attention on maybe somebody that's just looking to fly out their family to, the premier game. These are kids that are going to have to, spend their own money. I put that in quotation marks. I'm coming here, for this game. So I think that's a good, to me, that's a good strategy. It shows that those that want to be there are going to find themselves a way. And maybe this is a way that you weed out some of those guys that you're on the fence with that, have the means to make and the ability to make it that choose not to, because it's not a, free flight, free hotel, and everything else.
I love it because, I mean, you look at the list, it wasn't like changing from officials to unofficials made the list any worse. Like, guys are still wanting to come to this game. Then listen, you're going to get a free ticket as an unofficial visitor. You're still going to get into the games in that south end zone. So for Florida, this can be your best environment. You're still going to get kids into the stadium. And now, like you kind of said, you maybe weed out the ones who are serious, who aren't. But you also have another opportunity to get them on campus for maybe a game they wouldn't have been going to. Maybe now you can get a kid on an official visit for the FSU game or for next week for the Tennessee game when it's like, hey, we can come out. I don't love official visits for games, kind of like what Silk touched on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that one-on-one time, that hands-on time with the coaching staff because they're doing their job to try to win a football game. I think you get a much better visit. And maybe this is something Lee Davis has talked about, with you guys on the podcast, before I was here. You get a much better visit in terms of interactions with coaches out of the season. And now you're not going to get that game day experience. And for as much as we rag on Dan and this staff for recruiting, I think this is a really good play because you look at that list that you just ran through, you're not missing the names that you really want to be in the stands for this game. And I think it opens up another opportunity for you to bring them in later on in the year for an official visit, whether that's for a game or, right after the season where you can get, that close interaction with the coaches.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, Nick, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, Florida, between this class and next class, you have 500 members of the Rivals 250 combined. Florida's going to have more than 50 of them. So you're going to have 10% of the Rivals 500 for 2022 and 2023 on campus, which is an incredible feat. And again, like I said, this is your opportunity to make that impact. Go ahead, Sil.
Yeah, and the average fan probably like, oh, what if Bama blows us out, right? You don't care about that. Like, you just want them there for the atmosphere, the full city, the vibes. You want them to get Gainesville on full tilt. The whole experience, the game day experience, regardless of the outcome of the game, win, lose, or draw, you want them to take in the atmosphere.
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit about this with Ahmad, and obviously, my 4 years I spent on the recruiting staff as well. Obviously, you want to see a win. The atmosphere is different. The coaching staff is different. They're a little looser. Everybody's a little bit more excited, but fans care a lot more about the outcome of the game than a lot of these prospects do, right? They want to feel a certain type of way when they're interacting with coaches. They want to, take in the atmosphere. So you go in, you have a close game, that doesn't, I don't think a loss, deleteriously or negatively affects this, team or pardon me, these recruits. So, so I think you come in, you have everything lined up. You have your compliance paperwork in order, and you bring around some Gator greats. I'm sure this is going to be a who's list of, Gator legends that are there interacting, give them a good experience. And, like I said, you can only get these guys to commit if you get them on campus. So
follow the visits, not the tweets.
That's right. That's right. Hey, has Walter Nolan committed? Didn't he say he was going to do that when he got 12,000 followers?
Who knows, man? He's just, he's playing it up. He might be a 6-figure NIL guy by the time he actually steps on campus.
7, 8
You
figure.
might as well just start setting it up now, make his recruitment 12th. I would just start my thing bidding it. Y'all start bidding now, man.
Go fund a little reverse GoFundMe.
Yeah. Compete that way. Bid for me real quick.
Oh man. All right, boys, let's get into our prize pick section in our over under. We'll have to get a list of where we sit at over under right now, see how much money Nick's lost. But as always, this section of the show is sponsored by our friends over at Prize Picks. Use promo code SG, get a dollar for dollar match all the way up to $100 with your daily fantasy picks. You can do some really cool things where you can you can wager on over-unders for passing yards of an NFL QB and a Gators running back. You can do a lot of really cool stuff. So visit prizepicks.com. Shout out to all of you that have joined. We got a huge slew of you that have joined over the next few weeks, over the last few weeks. And stay tuned for some more additional news about our friends over at Home Field, by the way. Anyway, all right, boys, let's get into over-under. Gators are leading the country right now in rushing yards, about 366 yards a game. Over under the Gators are able to get 250 against Alabama.
You muted that, Nick.
Yeah, Nick's been talking this whole time to himself.
Oh man. Shoot. When was the last time Alabama? You know what? Buy. I'm on Silk's energy this week. We're
There
buying.
it is.
We're buying. We're going over 250. Might be 251.
251.
I think it's easy money if ARs. Yeah, I'm buying it. Let's go. I'm buying it.
I'm gonna buy
Big
as
Mac
well.
rolls, baby.
Silk reached out for a loan this week because I've been sitting on all the money for our buy sell segment.
No, listen, I
now,
think the Gators have talent.
I'm red.
And I think Emory Jones is going to get yards. I think Anthony Richardson's going to get yards. I think Anthony Richardson's going to play. I think it might limit how much he plays, but I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
All right, with that being said, over under 250 yards passing by the Florida Gators.
Under.
Over.
Silk's got the Gators for 650 on Saturday.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to – oh, geez. I'm going to sell, but not by much. I think the Gators get about 225. All right, guys. Gators get 6 sacks.
I think we're gonna get over that because we either gonna be chasing them people or we're gonna be having a good boat race game. Either way, I think either way we get that production.
I mean, you just put Florida at 500 yards against Bama.
Yeah, because I think like it's gonna be like that type of game. Like they're explosive as well. So if the way I envision our defense not being able to stop their offense, I think we're gonna get a lot of opportunities to get production.
I also think it might be a little bit of a hedge. You know, you get 250 rushing, 250 passing. If they get one, Silk could be like, see, I told you they would get for 250 yards doing this. Yeah.
Listen, big lies in the air.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Analyze my lies.
All right, the Gators get 6 sacks in game 1, only end up with 1 sack in game 2. Alabama, obviously, has a not as strong as an offensive line as they normally have. Buy or sell, the Gators get 3.5 sacks or more.
I'm selling 3.5. That's a lot.
Yeah, selling that too.
I'm going to buy. I think that they get 4. Yep. All right. And then finally.
Damn, rub his face like Birdman.
That's right. By the way, if you're not checking us out on YouTube, being able to check us out as we react to each other's nonsense every once in a while, visit us at youtube.com. Subscribe at Stadium and Gale. That's where you can get this show.
Shout out
8 hours
to,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Shout out to Alec too for the IG videos and stuff, man. Them shit's hit. I like it.
Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all those places.
It's the content slaps.
The content does slap, Nicholas. All right.
Got nothing for Soak.
Last buy or sell. We've said that this game is going to come down to turnovers. Buy or sell, the Gators gets 2+. So 2.5 turnovers or more.
He's just buying.
No
matter what
baby.
Number.
Say it ain't tricking if you got it, Nick.
If Florida's going to win the game, they have to get that number. They do not get to that number. I sell.
All right, I'm gonna sell. I think that they get 2, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what my prediction is about this game. Let's get into game day predictions. Nick, we're gonna start with you. The over/under right now. We'll do it this way. The over/under is 16. Or pardon me, over/under is 59. The plus/minus is Gators plus 16.5 today. You buy or sell 59 points. And do you buy the Gators covering? And then do you buy the Gators beating Alabama? So 3 answers.
Buying Florida covers the spread. Buying the over for the game. Selling Florida winning this game.
I'm buying all 3, man.
I'm
buying all 3, man. I'm buying over 59. Of course, we covering the spread because we finna win in the swamp, baby.
Silk's telling
you can't just come down here and think everything about to be peaches and you know what I'm saying Sunday at the beach. This is not the beach. It's not that part of Florida.
You're not helping the recruiting efforts.
This is a swamp. I
It's
got
a
you.
swamp.
I see what you're getting at. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Took me a
not,
second.
it's not that type of vacation, baby. It's not that type of vacation, Nick.
Silk's betting recommendation is Gator money line. Don't even.
No, this is not a me recommending bets.
This is not a betting show, Nicholas.
Okay, I'm just asking.
This is Homer Simpson time.
What kind of nonsense does Nick think we're running over here? You know.
I don't tell nobody to go gamble with my passion.
Yeah. As a reminder, we are betting with
Fanatic
Stadium and Gale
shenanigans.
bucks. Yeah, Stadium and Gale shekels is what we got dealing with.
These are make believe over and unders and not real money. Let's clarify a few things.
We are not buying or selling with real dollar bills. I'm gonna buy that the Gators cover 16.5. I'm gonna sell. I do think the Gators lose by 7 or 10 points, but I do buy the over at 59. I think there's gonna be a lot of points scored in this game. I think somewhere to the effect of 45-35, somewhere in that range. I think the Gators put up a good fight, and I think that the Gators could win. But it's gonna be tough. You gotta play flawless football, and I'm not seeing them play flawless football yet.
I'm the only real one on this show.
Hey man, I'm here for it. I'm here for a Florida win. I'm not predicting it though.
Well, then you're not.
Just so y'all know, I might predict the win every week, so I don't expect anything out of that. Anything less from me.
Yeah, this show is not about truly forecasting and accurately talking about the game. We are here to get our lies off, but also to give you unbiased coverage.
I mean, they kind of get the gist of it in our coverage. You can't read in between the lines. I mean, it doesn't sound like we're going to come in and just things got to happen for us. Like, we got to be very fortunate. So, I just think, it can get loud and we can make some things happen with a young quarterback that's not that experienced on the road. So, I'm just tipping my hat on that, man. We'll see what's up.
Silk has the Gators by 1 point. But that's all.
Absolutely.
As
long as it's a W, man.
That's right.
A win would be huge, man. A win would be huge. We'll see what's
huge.
up.
Let's get a Manscaped ad read, and then you got the song of the week, and let's take us out.
Shout out to the great folks at manscaped.com. I found my charger. I am back rolling with the Lawnmower 4.0. Everything's thriving and driving, Daniel.
Oh, very good.
Smooth sellings, man. Smooth as eggs, like a baby's bottom. I used it in the showers. I was on vacation in Orlando. Nice hotel suite. Got in there, charged up there because I found the charger in one of my old suitcases. I was like, oh, shoot, there it is. Yeah, took it on vacation somewhere. So charged it up at the hotel, got it going, crunk her up, smooth in the shower, no snags, didn't get electrocuted, no weird stuff, man. Lawnmower 4.0. Be sure to get that ball deodorant. It's still hot in Florida. I don't think summer ends for another 3 weeks here. So keep that ball deodorant on deck.
But that'd be a wild way to die, getting electrocuted in the shower, shaving your balls.
Oh, my
God. That'd be a tough obituary,
People would laugh at your funeral a little bit.
Leave cause of death out there. Maybe Manscaped would sponsor the funeral.
Yeah. We're just gonna say natural
you can't
causes.
Just send me some ball deodorant if I just died, Nick. It's not gonna fix everything at all.
I know they don't do
sprinkle the ball deodorant over the casket.
Oh man,
he lived his life fast.
Be sure to use coupon code SG at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. I got the song, right?
You sure do.
Where's my cell phone?
Oh, and while you look at that, shout out to University of Florida. U.S. News and World Report came out with their rankings yesterday evening.
Top five.
The Florida Gators are the number 5 public school in the country. That has been their mission for a decade. When I was there, UF was, I think, 13 or 14, somewhere around there. Kent Fox has put it on his radar to be a top 5 school. The Gators get that. So congratulations to the University of Florida, a premier academic institution. So congratulations to the University of Florida.
That piece of paper you got from the University of Florida keeps getting more and more expensive, Dan.
That's right.
More and more valuable, I should say.
Yeah, more and more valuable. About to have a second one. So
just doubling up on it.
Double Gator.
I'm gonna take us out with Shelly, FKA Dram, Cooking with Grease, a little R&B, man.
Ooh.
Mellow it out.
What was the
This
name
would be a
of the
new one
artist?
for me.
Dram. Shelly, FKA Dram.
Okay. Very good. All right, boys. Same quarter, same time next week after a Gator victory.
Same corner, same time, man. Y'all boys enjoy Gainesville. Make it loud and obnoxious up there. Get that elephant up out the room. We need to put a Gator in that room, you know? Let's make something happen. Same corner, same time, fellas.
Already.
Same time. See you guys.
I can't think.